Hey guys, so really quickly, I did not film an intro for this video, but I am using all drugstore products except for the eyeshadow palette, and I'm actually using the Kathleen Light's Dream Street palette. So here we go. So I'm starting off by priming my skin with the Maybelline Baby Skin Primer, and I've had this for a really long time, I just never use it because it's a silicone based primer. And then I'm going in with the Wet n Wild Photofocus Foundation, and I am in Shell Ivory, and I'm using the Real Techniques sponge to blend that out. And then I decided I wanted a little more coverage, so I went in with another layer just on my cheeks where I have acne to get a little more coverage. And I am blending that out with my Morphe Y6 just so I can make sure that the sponge doesn't soak up any product and I can get as full coverage as possible. And this foundation is actually really nice. It's super affordable and I like it. Other than the smell, it performs pretty well and it wears pretty well throughout the day. Then I'm going in with the Maybelline Age Rewind as my concealer, and I'm highlighting under my eyes and on my nose, and then I'm going to blend that out with the same Real Techniques sponge. And then I'm going to use my favorite powder, the COTY AIRSPUN powder, and I'm going to set my whole face with it. And I actually don't prefer to do voiceover videos, but today I was getting ready super fast, and I figured if I talked during the video it would take way too long. Then I'm using the Flower Beauty Draw the Line eyebrow pencil just to do my brows, and this pencil is nice, but it's really pigmented, so you have to be really careful with it and make sure to brush out your brows in between filling them in. And then I'm using my Essence Make Me Brow Gel. I use this all the time. It's only $2.99. And then today I'm going to be using my Kathleen Light's Dream Street palette with ColourPop. And I am going in with the shade Shooting Star as a transition color, and I'm just putting this all over the lid, in the crease, pretty much everywhere on both eyes. And then I'm using the shade Potion for my crease, just to give us a little more definition. And guys, I really love this palette, and Kathleen Lights is one of my favorite YouTubers. And ColourPop is one of my favorite makeup brands, so when they came out with the palette together, it was just perfect. And then I am blending those two shades together just to give us a nice transition and make sure we don't have any harsh lines. And then for my outer corner, I am using the shade Elfish, and I'm using a dense Real Techniques brush just to stamp that on the outer part of my lid. And guys, I promise you, I plucked my eyebrows. I just don't really know what happened because they're already out of control again. And then I am blending again with that same shade Shooting Star. And then I'm going back in with Elfish on a flatter brush just to pack it on the outside corner because I decided I wanted a little more darkness on the outside. And then for all over the lid, I am using the shade Stardust, and I had such a hard time picking which shimmer out of this palette I wanted to use because they're all so nice. I had them all swatched on my arm. It was a mess. And then I'm going back in with my blending brush, of course, just making sure everything is blended together really nicely. And then I am using my favorite shadow ever. This is the ColourPop Super Shock shadow in RITZ. And this is like a glitter in Super Shock form. And this was actually my favorites video, so if you haven't watched that yet, I'll put it up in the iCards right above. And I just love this so much. It gives us such a good pop of glitter. And then I am finishing up the look by doing the lower lash line, and I'm going in with that same transition color and also the same brown color. And I'm just basically following the exact same steps we did for the lid. And then I'm using the NYX matte bronzer and using this Morphe brush just to bronze up my face. And then I'm using one of my favorite blushes, the Milani Baked Blush in Dulce Pink. And I believe this was also in my favorites, I think. And then I'm going back in with my powder brush just to blend it out really well. And I feel like I have to do this with any blush I use. And then I'm using my favorite highlighter, the Makeup Revolution Vivid Baked Highlighter. And this is in Peach Lights. I actually just purchased Radiant Light, so I'm super excited to try that out. And I should have an Ulta haul filmed coming soon. And then I'm going back into the highlighter to highlight my inner corners. And then I'm going to use the Essence Lash Princess mascara. This was also in my favorites, and I'm going to use that on my lashes. And I showed you a little bit of my awkward mascara faces, but most of it I had to cut out because it was too much. And then this is not Drugstore, but this is the Skindinavia Finishing Spray in Bridal. And it's super affordable, so I just feel like I would include it. And then I'm using the NYX Slim Pencil Liner, and it is the shade 828 Ever, and then I'm going to go over top of it with the Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit, and it's in the shade Give Me Mocha. And that is the final look. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I know this was a super short random video, but I figured I was getting ready, so I would just film it. So subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys for watching. Bye!